Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. This is going to be an unscripted video. I know it's been like 2 months since I made an actually scripted video, and I did mention I would take like a month or two break from scripting videos. There's a couple of reasons why. Won't get into all of them because it's not really relevant to this video. Right now, I'm actually updating one of my virtual machines that has Arch Linux because I want to see if I can test out HDR because I know KDE Plasma will soon have HDR as a feature. So I kind of want to see how effective it is because I know you can do it with like I think it's like a game scope section that you can install on your computer. I haven't been able to properly test that, but I think I'm going to be able to do it right before KDE Plasma releases Plasma 6, just to kind of get a glimpse of what to expect. But anyway, I don't want to keep you guys hanging, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Storm Connections because I've kind of been thinking about this game recently because Storm Connections was kind of like a build-up game for me because I feel like ever since I made those Storm reviews, I was like, this is probably the last Storm game the last Storm review that I'm gonna write. But then, around 2020, I started hearing a couple of rumors that kind of implied that there may or may not be additional content because that was around the time, like 2020 was the same year when CyberConnect 2 and Bandai Namco released like the Switch port, which came with extra DLC for Momoshiki and Kinshiki. And so, I don't know, like there's a couple of reasons to believe that, hey, maybe we can expect some new content for Storm. And that kind of like reinvigorated my interest in talking about the game. And then like 2021 or I think it might have been 2022, the rumor started floating around of a potential Storm 5. So yeah, like I feel like I've kind of been building up this game for a while, and so when we first heard about the game, like in early 2023, the reveals were pretty disappointing and stuff like that, and then came with the release, and I'm just gonna say it's been a fucking disaster. I'm gonna show you probably like a screenshot on the screen. This game has 191 active players on Steam. Now that for a new Storm game, and bear in mind that Naruto is one of the most popular anime IPs out there, and Storm as an IP in and of itself, it has a pretty strong brand. To have only 191 active players is fucking pathetic. And to be honest, I can't really feel bad for it. Because, listen, I've had respect for CyberConnect 2 as a developer because I think that their history with Naruto games has generally been pretty good. But I'm just gonna say it up front. To me, when it comes to video games, I'm always going to side with the consumers. I don't simp for developers. I don't defend developers when they don't deserve. I'm always going to take the side of the consumer. And Storm Connections from the very beginning just seemed inherently anti-consumer. Now, the first part, and I think this is something that everyone was mentioning, which is the fact that this game fundamentally is not that fucking different from Storm 4. Now, the thing is, initially people were basing this off of like the promotional material, and I will say one thing, I do think you can't truly deduce whether or not like how different one Storm could be from another, because let's be real, if you took any Storm game, removed the HUD, and don't show any like blatantly like obvious changes in the mechanics, you can pretty much make all of them look and play the same from one footage alone. So I was kind of willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but once they start to actually talk about the mechanics, once they start to actually reveal the thing, once content creators started getting access to the game and actually mentioned all the changes, I was like, I don't know, man, this doesn't seem to be that fucking different. And the thing is, even if you want to make the argument that, every Storm game, when you get down, when you break things down, they're not that different. And listen, I understand that, I truly do, but the thing is, Storm has never gotten this fucking similar. like this is the argument that I always like to use. No matter how much you want to say that Storm 3 is similar to Storm Generations, or Storm 4 is similar to Revolution, or Storm Generation similar to Storm 2, we've never gotten to the point where the community can apply literally every single fucking change, including the UI, with nothing more than mods, and apply them to Storm 4 in like a month or a couple of weeks. you know, like ever since Globku tried out the game like around the middle of last year, he started like talking with a bunch of like modders, and they were able to recreate the changes from Storm Connections. Now it's not one to one with the game. I'm sure there probably are some like little subtle changes between them, but the thing is, the fact that you could replicate the experience and replicate the mechanical changes with mods alone, that's fucking pathetic. That really is. Like there's no defending it. There's just no fucking defending it. That is absolutely fucking pathetic. You're paying $60 expecting to get a new game, and it's pretty much the fucking same. And if and honestly, it's one thing when it's not that mechanically different from the game, but then when you take into consideration the fact that what about the actual single player campaign? Because that's something that at least I care. I know not everyone cares too much about the single player experience, and I understand it is a fighting game. It's meant to be played competitively. I understand that, but I, for one, I've always been primarily a single player type of guy. In general, when it comes to games, I'm primarily a single player type of guy. But even with fighting games, it's actually, I wouldn't even say it's single player. I think I more so appreciate the ability to play games locally. And the thing is, this is actually one of the main reasons for why I'm not the most excited for the new Dragon Ball game. You know, the one that's like based on Budokai Tenkaichi. Or I don't know if it's considered like a sequel or a spin-off, whatever the fuck. It's like it's in the vein of those type of games. They even promote it. They've kind of been promoting this as like the successor of Budokai Tenkaichi, but whatever. I think the game is like Sparkling Zero. That's the name of the game. Whatever. The thing is, initially I was like, hey, I'm not the biggest Budokai Tenkaichi formula fan, but hey, this franchise carries a lot of legacy. I'm actually pretty excited. I'm very interested in seeing, what they have to offer. But the thing that killed the game for me was the revelation that the game would not have local versus. So, like local multiplayer. So if you want to play with your buddies with a second controller, you can't do that. Now, here's the thing. I get why. I understand why, because the way Budokai Tenkaichi games work is, you know how with Storm, they can kind of configure the camera to rotate relative to the two players. You can't really do that with Budokai Tenkaichi just because the fields are a lot larger. The directions that you can move in the field is a lot more. It's a lot more wide ranging. You can climb up, like you can fly and move around. Like it's not really something where you can just adjust the camera based on, because if that were the case, man, there would be such long distances between the two players that it just wouldn't work. You have to introduce some type of split screen, which is what past Budokai Tenkaichi games did. They implemented split screen, and the thing is, splitting the screen does have its disadvantages. Aside from the fact that the screen, the perspective for each player is smaller. That to me I can kind of deal with, but one thing that actually is a little bit of a problem is the fact that introducing split screen can also have performance hits, because you are kind of processing two. I mean, it's the same match, but you're processing the same match in like two different perspectives, which is a little bit more taxing on the game. So there's a lot of compromises that they would have to make in order to make the game run well. And even with the amount of compromises that they can make, it's probably still not going to run as well. It's not going to look as good. I can speak from experience as someone that has played racing games with split screen. This type of stuff is inevitable, and I get that. I understand, but the thing is, I don't think that this barrier should be enough to just completely remove local multiplayer altogether. Because to me, when I heard that, honestly, that alone made me just not have any interest in the game. Because to me, if I'm buying a fucking fighting game, I'm buying it with the expectation that I can play with friends. And when I say friends, I'm not talking about online friends. No, I'm talking about real life fucking friends. I buy them with the expectation that if I, hang out with the boys, we hang out, we decide to like grab our fucking controllers, grab some drinks and stuff like that, hang out in someone's house, whether it's mine or someone else's, sit on a couch and play, I expect to be able to play fighting games with them, not fucking online. Like, learning that completely killed the hype for the game for me. Now, thankfully, Storm, it hasn't gotten to that point, but, honestly, Storm Connections as purely a local multiplayer experience is actually not that bad. I can play it with friends. But one thing I do care about is the single player experience, mainly the single player campaign. And here's the thing. History mode is shit. It's actual garbage. And then there's special story mode, which, it's better. It has some interesting concepts. The story is honestly pretty decent. But the gameplay loops are pretty monotonous. And honestly, it's not that fucking good. It's not that good. I would not buy this fucking game. Like, if this were DLC for Storm 4, I still would be disappointed because I would think this is still pretty fucking disappointing DLC because it's not that fucking special. You know what I mean? And then when you take into consideration the online experience, like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like, here's the thing. I personally haven't really been playing online. I'm not in a position to speak on whether or not it's better or worse than Storm 4. A lot of the feedback that I've heard gives the impression that it's better, but boy, I can't say the same for Xbox players because for a while, dude, matchmaking was horrendous. It was actually unplayable for them. So, and then, all the missing features, things like fucking endless mode, custom matchmaking, all that stuff, not available day one. And then there was all the issues of like the voice acting for the English dub being completely bad. Like, the game was unfinished. It was completely fucking unfinished. And here's the thing, and this is something that I genuinely hate about modern video gaming, is the fact that, and this isn't something that I'm just going to blame the developers, because I don't think the developers are the only ones to blame. I think the players are also to blame. I fucking hate this expectation that people have that, if a game comes out, in a shit state, we should just expect that things will get better. And I hate that. I don't like this idea that we just casually enable developers to release games that are pretty much in early access, and then just kind of gaslight ourselves into thinking, oh, it'll get better over time. Maybe in a couple of months or a year from now, this is gonna be a great game. And I'm just like, motherfucker, I'm paying $60 today. You know what I mean? I'm paying $60 today. I'm not buying a game so it becomes good a year from now. I'm buying a game so it's good today. Okay? I recently bought Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and guess what? The game is good today. The second I bought the fucking game, it was good. I didn't have to fucking wait. Well, technically speaking, I did actually have to wait because when I bought Infinite Wealth, I was actually going through binge playing all of the Yuga Gotoku franchise, but whatever. That's not important. The point is, I'm not buying fucking games as like placeholders. You know what I mean? That's not how video games should fucking work. And the thing is, and to me, like, it's one thing to wait, which I think is unacceptable. I don't think that as a player, I should fucking wait until a game decides to be good. I think that's a bad precedent to begin with. But the other thing is, how the fuck am I supposed to know that the game will be good? I've seen games that, came out in a bad state. We were promised that things would get better. We were promised that we would get patches. But then, by the time the game ended up getting shut down, like in the case of, for example, Marvel's Avengers, The game ended up getting shut down. It's no longer being supported anymore, and it ended still in a pretty fucking shit state. Like, yeah, a couple of things got better, but some things didn't. You know, I wouldn't say that the game ended with a bang. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing I fucking hate. I really do hate this. And the thing is, what really fucking annoys me is the fact that the developers then they make these fucking decisions, and I'm just thinking to myself, so, you know, for Storm Connections to release in the state that it has, that means that the people that made the game, they developed it, they worked on it, they saw that it was not finished, they saw that the game was not fucking complete, and they saw it and they thought, you know what, it's completely fine to release it in the state. So they're either blind, or they knew that the game wasn't complete and still sold it. And honestly, I think either possibilities is embarrassing. I think it's fucking embarrassing, and honestly, I have zero fucking respect for CyberConnect 2 after this. And I don't care who's responsible for releasing the game in this broken state. I'm sure some people might think, oh, you know, maybe they were pressured by Blind Diamond. I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna be completely honest, I don't fucking care. I really don't. Listen, the game is under their fucking name, so I'm gonna put the blame on them. I'm also gonna put the blame on Bandai Namco because they shouldn't fucking publish games in that state, but I'm not going to fucking let CyberConnect 2 off the hook. They were the ones that made the game. They did not meet our expectations, so they should be fucking called out. And I think that's how it is. And when I see the player base reaching like 191, it makes me fucking happy. Because it shows to these developers that, hey, we are not going to fucking play your game unless it's in a good state. We're not going to fucking play your game until you're actually offering things that are fucking interesting. Until you actually do that, we're not fucking wasting our time with this. And that's how it should be. And I don't know how well this game sold, because every time I try to look up the numbers, I'm never able to find it. I don't know if, you know, they're purposely not showing the sales numbers because it looks bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's probably one site or one article that has the numbers, but whatever the fuck. I really hope this game sold poorly because honestly, you know, when I see this, like, as a Storm fan, you might think, oh, you know, but you're a Storm fan. You should wish for this game to succeed. No, not really. No, absolutely fucking not. In fact, if this is how the game came on, I wish Storm remained dead. I wish that Storm was fucking dead. If the alternative is getting this, deadass. I would much rather not get any Storm game than get fucking this. And I'm just being completely fucking honest with you. And it's honestly one of the main reasons. Oh, granted, you know, I think I was never going to return to this game anyway because, again, I'm not really much of a multiplayer type of guy. I don't really fucking dick around in like online lobbies and shit like that. So I was never really going to stick with this game in the long run. But the thing, even then, you know, when I think of Storm Connections, like right now, you know, I every time I open my PS5 to play Infinite Wealth, I see Storm Connections in my library, and sometimes I think to myself, you know, I could probably fucking delete this game just to save up some space, and I wouldn't really feel like I lost much, because I really haven't, you know. It's just honestly it's a waste of everyone's fucking time. It's a waste of development resources, and yeah, I think it deserves to fucking fail, and I do not feel any ounce of shame in saying that. I think this game deserves to fucking fail, and yeah, I don't feel bad for the bad numbers. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Goodbye.